the Dog and Pauly podcast on FingerLakes1.com, featuring Harold Webdog Weber and Paul Hellstrom.
Ah, yes, it is a Wednesday, January 25th, 2012. We welcome you. This is the Dog and
Pauly Show.
We welcome you to FingerLakes1.com, and we have a big show scheduled for you today, as we will go to the phone lines in a second and talk to a very happy and a jubilant coach of the Geneva girls bowling team, and that's Chuck Collins. And without further ado, we welcome you to our program this morning, and we are now going to go via the telephone to Chuck Collins, who's standing by in Geneva. Chuck, good morning. Welcome to our program.
Good morning, and thank you very much for being selected to get online. Well,
Chuck, it's good to have you on, and excuse my voice. I got a little, I think I'm working my way to laryngitis, but hopefully we get through the show. And a few questions. The Geneva girls bowling team caught my attention as I obviously follow the world of sports quite closely. And you being the head coach, talk a little bit about the team and about that incredible record that they have just achieved. It just seems like they get better by every single match.
Well, I'm very fortunate. I've had a group of girls over the course of the last 7, 8, 10, 9, 10 years that really have bought into a system. And in bowling, what I really, again, this past year, we've ended up our season record of 84 wins and no losses. We're very fortunate. And the reason we are that successful is that system. There's really no offense, I like to say, in bowling, and I think some of the best, defense. Some of the best defense is really having a good offense, and that starts with that system of knowing how to bowl. We actually do teach a system. I've had a tremendous volunteer help with Mr. Marty Lazada and his wife Carol. They've helped me immensely. And there's so many other people that you don't see. Bob Cook, he was there too. But it all goes down to the kids, and that's what works. It's the system. I have incorporated teaching a system called the Dick Ricker system, and all I can say about it is that it works. And when the kids do, buy into it, the skill development is applied, and the better they bowl. That just seems to be a fact. Everyone seems to help each other, and we get what we try to call the total strike zone in every shot we make. So over the years, the skill drills we teach just seem to be applied, and the girls have had some tremendous success.
It is pretty amazing. Again, I do follow the PBA on television on ESPN, and it's amazing to me the incredible record that the girls have achieved, and I want to give you a chance to mention their names if you would be so kind as well. What amazes me is to go undefeated, knowing that there's not one person on the other team that has won a game to break that streak, and you would think the pressure would build up, but it seems like they just bowl continuously on an excellent performance.
It's what I love about our girls. It starts with our lead-up with Felicia Truly, and she bowls her game, and everyone seems to be able to have a confidence in everyone else's ability. We follow that up with our rookie of the year, I would say, her name is Hallie Marquardt. New to bowling, a left-hander, and she's going to be tremendous as the years go on for her too, because again, the system is in play, and everybody helps everybody else out. We go down to our third bowler, Amanda Millis. Again, she's another senior we will lose this year. As we're going, Felicia will lose Felicia too. But Amanda Millis, again, has just bought into the system, and it just seems to work, and she's very excited. Ashley Lacey is our fourth bowler, very, very good bowler in her own right, and another senior we're going to lose. We have our team captain, Stephanie Lozada, and this is my volunteer assistant coach, Marty Lozada's daughter, and she has taken the lead in our season, and actually has led the league in our average also. And again, they all seem to be with each other. Everyone picks each other up, and then if there is somebody having a bad game, we have a couple of girls that we can come off the bench and they can really help us out, and that would be Jelena Klein, and then we have a Taylor Moran and a Sarah Payne. So again, it's a good group effort, and you know what? It's all the work that they put in, and whatever disappointment, certainly we haven't had a whole lot of disappointment, except I would like to say that we've got to really push it forward, and we've had the success throughout the regular season, and I know what the girls really want to do, and we want to strive to show it in the Section 5 competitions, which are coming up. And, we just can't play alone. It's everybody shares the work, the glory, and we just have to keep driving.
Well, you're listening to the Dog and Pauly Show. We got Chuck Collins, the bowling coach of the Geneva girls team. It's had a phenomenal, sensational, unbelievable record the last few years, and you just keep motoring on. One thing that intrigued me about your team that prompted me to get a hold of you to talk about it on this show, because me and Paul always want to spotlight people that do a great job and that work the extra mile. And what really impressed me, and I know Paul probably followed up on it as well, is the fact when your budget crisis hit, like every school district in America has hit, and you didn't have the expenses to hand over the money necessary for you to pay lane fees at Sunset where you bowl your home matches, Chuck, plus you didn't get money to bowl for your practice time. Instead of whining about it, it sounds to me like you went out and dug a hole and decided to do bake sales, car washes, and raise the money. So I think we tip our hat off to you as the head coach and your assistant coaches, but also to the players that didn't whine about it, just went out and got the job done.
That's absolutely true, and I really even see myself as when I see the team do all that, they come together even more, and it's exciting to see that because now they're coming together not on the lanes or not in the practice sessions, but in the ability to find those funds so that we can keep practicing, so that we can keep having those competitions, and again, it's a whole team effect. And what is that little analogy? Team together, everyone achieves more.
Right.
That's what I see in this group.
Well, it's pretty amazing, and I got my buddy Paul here. Paul, Chuck Collins doing a great job up there. Your comments, I'm sure you're excited about the fact they're not only having sensational season after season, but, facing crisis with the budget, they went out and got the money. Pretty impressive.
It certainly is. It's a tribute to the kids. If you want something bad enough and you work hard enough for it, your goal seems to come your way. I'm impressed by not losing a game. In bowling,
amazing.
Any night that you've ever bowled, your game flattens out from time to time, and the fact that those kids, they just must be stepping right up, and somebody has a miss, and then maybe a split right behind it, and the person in front of them and the person behind them double up and pick them up, and I think they've built up something that's hard to do, but once it's there, I see them. I would rather be them going into the sectionals right now in a role like they are, and a lot of people say, well, it's always good if you lose a game and then that takes the pressure off the sectionals or something a la Syracuse last week.
Right.
But I think Geneva High's they're just in a good spot right now, and I wouldn't want to have to bowl against the girls' team. And,
Chuck, we should point out, too, that the girls are having a sensational last few years, but the boys as well are playing competitive bowling. Talk a little bit about the boys' team.
Again, my boys' team, I really seem to have found a right combination. You need to find the right bowler for the right situation, and we are very, very competitive in the sense of what we can hit. Sometimes we have some down matches, but the boys also have shown the ability to get into the 2900s to 3000s and to bowl competitively within our league. And it all goes back to the system. If they apply the system, it's going to work. And I just believe in it, and I just think that that's the key. I mean, any successful business, anywhere you go, has a successful system.
Well, listen.
They do. Boys also do the same thing.
Give us a little information about the sectionals. When will that start, and when will they be back in the competition?
Well, actually, we'll have doubles. We're going to have a doubles and singles tournament next Tuesday, February 7th, and then we have our sectional play will begin September 17th for the girls, and then on February 17th, and then February 18th for the boys, and it's going to be at Gates Lanes up in Rochester, or is it Spenceport?
Okay. Well, I appreciate you taking time out, Chuck, to come on the air with us on the Dog and Pauly podcast here on FingerLakes1.com. We wanted to spotlight the team. We certainly want to make an appearance up there to do some video and so forth down the road, and we appreciate you taking time out of your busy schedule to talk to us.
I really appreciate it, John. I really would like to, I would be remiss if I didn't also say the support that the Geneva City School System does have for their athletics. Even though the budget crisis does come into play in many different areas, there's other teams that actually have to fundraise even more than what we have to. And I want to put it all in perspective. Without the support of the school system, we wouldn't even be in a position to fundraise. So I got to thank them also.
Well, I appreciate those.
I want to thank you again for having us on.
Well, thank you, Chuck, and thank you very much. And we'll surprise you again and come up and maybe do some other shows from the lanes.
Sounds fantastic.
All right, Chuck. Thank you very much. Have a good day.
Yes, sir. You too.
Have a nice
luck
day.
The rest of the way.
Thank you. All right, ladies and gentlemen, Chuck Collins, the head coach of the girls and boys bowling teams in Geneva, who obviously the girls have shined in with a capital S with their outstanding record. To go 84 and zip is mind-boggling to me because, Paul, you talked about somebody on the other team might get hot one game and win a point, but pretty amazing. We appreciate Chuck taking time out of his busy schedule, talking to us via the phone. Jaminette Ortiz is with us, my good friend. To our left, she is the cheerleading coach of the Desales Saints, and we're going to get to Jaminette after we take a break, and Paul's going to do the commercials since my voice is a little weak this morning, but Paul, take it away, buddy.
Yeah, he sounds weak, doesn't he?
Yeah, I do. Really.
Yeah. Okay, we want to get our 4 sponsors in here because we tend to get carried away, and we really appreciate the sponsorship of this fine group of people that we have. We're starting out with our newest sponsor, which is the Seneca Falls Country Club, and for over 80 years been the premier golf course in the Finger Lakes region. If you want to see some place that looks like a golf course is supposed to look, you got to go out there whether you're a golfer or not. It's beautiful the way they take care of the place. A lot of pride over the years. Mm-hmm. The thing that's going this year is they're starting up a new membership deal, and they've got some great rates for people who hadn't golfed there recently, and for next year if you haven't golfed there last year. And there's a single membership that's available for $1,165 for the year plus tax, and there's going to be a membership deal in February for $500 coupon off.
Nice
and
deal.
That'll be also off on the joint family memberships and all the other ones, but it would really pay somebody to look into that, because if you go in there, the clubhouse is awesome, the locker rooms are awesome, they've got a great kitchen facilities, and a lot of great people been down there and have been there for over the years.
Oh, yeah.
And Harold and Jim, both here from the station, they're regulars down there, and they like to see their family grow, and we appreciate the country club being our sponsor.
Absolutely.
Then we move up to a place where Harold probably should be going a little bit more, Lizard's Tailgater Lounge. Yeah, I think Scott said he's got something up there that could fix up laryngitis and stuff like that.
I'm sure he does.
He's got some stuff that breaks up that kind of congestion and everything like that. Well, this is an in-between week with the tailgater. I'm sure next week is the peak weekend going on.
Oh, yeah.
But, Scott's got stuff rolling on this Friday. He's got the DJ Pessalog Rock. He's been a steady there with karaoke videos. Saturday night the 28th, DJ music with karaoke videos. But the following weekend is the big weekend.
Oh, that's a big
Super Bowl
one.
weekend.
Huge.
Friday night the 3rd. Interesting. Big in boss letters.
Yeah.
Caged band returns with exotic dancers and 3 special guest bands.
Jim Santacroce just announced he's going to be at that one with Kathleen. Caged. Should be a lot of fun.
Yeah. It's not taking reservations, so don't call ahead. Just get up there and take your chances. Then Saturday, the day before the Super Bowl, February 4th, he's got the Mugshot Band with the return of Jess from the Dirty Birds.
Oh, yeah.
And then Sunday's the big day, Super Bowl Bash. Free appetizers, drink specials, prizes, giveaways. Of course, the game, many TVs, a lot of excitement. If you feel bad about looking like a fool or something, don't worry about it. Get right in there and mingle in. I'm sure everybody will be on the same page.
Oh, yeah.
It's go Giants.
I know.
Okay. So that's that. And then the other sponsor is Dickie Marshall. We don't have to say much about Dick. He's older than time. So.
Well, we just lost a sponsor. Keep going, Paul.
He told me after 40 years in business, he says, I get points just for showing up. I like to sign up, and people want to get in there. But he's been consistent over the years, Dick. And I see today he's got 7, 8 vehicles out there.
Have
3
a
or
bunch.
4 of them that I haven't saw before.
Yep.
He moved a couple of cars.
Right.
So obviously he's wheeling, dealing.
Yep.
He stood the test of time, Dickie, and he's got a great guy up there backing him up, Tommy, and Dick is kind of in a lull right now because of NASCAR, and he's watching every move that Danica Patrick does because she's coming over to NASCAR this year. And
she said she was going to win the Daytona, by the way, yesterday, Paul. Danica,
yeah. I like her style. Swagger's good. I like swagger. Yeah. Plus, she's kind of cute. That doesn't hurt anything at all. But I think Dick has ordered some Danica Patrick shirts. And he'll be giving out one with each card that he sells over the next one. Boy, I really put you on the spot, Dick. Hey, Dickie, we appreciate your sponsorship.
Yeah.
We'll give you a shout-out later in the show, too. And
That's
everything
right.
like that. Then we go to
chicken and biscuits. Come on, baby.
Yeah. Then we go to my favorite place, Deluxe in Geneva, and of course, there's nothing really going on up there right now. It's giant mania.
Oh, I bet.
I mean, we are all. I mean, Charlie's just bronzing around out there, and his wife Linda, and everything like that. Everybody's just so excited about the game. I'm actually glad that there's a week off between the Super Bowl, so we can calm everybody down.
It's a big
take care of the customers, and it's such a big day. Every year, the Super Bowl, but we close at the Deluxe for Super Bowl Sunday because we feel as if the people should be right in front of their TV sets and, or wherever they want to go to a Super Bowl party, and not too many people would be going out and eat. That's a big pizza and wing day.
You got to be one of the only restaurants I've ever heard of that closes on Super Bowl Sunday. Really, it's amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, I really appreciate what he does because he wants the staff to enjoy parties and the atmosphere of a Super Bowl. That's pretty impressive.
Sure, that's one thing about the Deluxe. It's family restaurant, but it's always family orientated.
It's amazing.
I mean, he's closed on Easter Sunday, so his help can enjoy their families Thanksgiving Day. That's not your run of the mill. Usually restaurants go out, and that's one of their big days to pursue it. But to know Charlie Lee and the family and the group at the Deluxe, like I told you before, 8 of our help, someone informed me last week, not 7. Have been there the whole 24 and a half years with Charlie. So if you can work in a restaurant for 24 and a half years,
you've done well.
The conditions must be right for everybody, the boss and the help, so it works out good.
He's a great guy.
But, and we had a big weekend last weekend. A lot of people got out that were tired of staying in, and the weather's going to be a bunch of more 40-degree days coming. So the Deluxe will be busy this week, and everything's going along, and Charlie appreciates everybody stopping in and seeing him, and go Giants.
All right. Well, Paul, thank you for doing those commercials. Well, so without further ado, we bring in my good friend Jaminette Ortiz. Jaminette, good morning. Welcome to our show.
Good morning.
You're not a bit nervous with myself and Paul and Jimmy, are you?
Oh, I was.
Nah, piece of cake. All right, for the viewers and listeners, tell us a little bit about Jaminette Ortiz and where you were born and where you were brought up and where you went to school, and bring us up to the current timetable of 2012.
I was born in Ponce, Puerto Rico, 37 years ago.
You don't look a day over 25.
I am a military brat. Moved to upstate New York at the age of 12.
Get closer to that thing. There you go. People can hear you now. All right, go ahead.
Grew up in Romulus, New York from the age of 12. Graduated from Romulus Central School. Moved to Waterloo with my parents and have been in Geneva after my marriage 10 years ago. 17-year-old son that goes to Geneva High School. 5-year-old daughter that goes to St. Stephen's.
Oh, she's a legend. Yes,
she
I know.
is.
She's a legend. Yeah.
She is. Prepare for her world. You're not ready. And now I started coaching cheerleading when my son Ricky played Vince Lombardi for the Geneva Junior Panthers at age 8. Went through that until he went on to play for high school. Then I coached an all-star team for several years in Geneva. And then I was asked by Mr. Mack, which I think you might know who he is, Gerald Mack.
Very much so.
From Seneca Falls to coach Desales High School. And I'll never forget his words at our parents' meeting back in the beginning of the school year. He said, we're going to resurrect cheerleading, and I'd like to think that we've done that at Desales now. And that's where I've been since August.
Certainly since I've known you, you've been involved in cheerleading. And probably a dumb question. Usually some of the ones I ask are dumb, but what's the passion of cheerleading that got you excited about getting involved in the first place? Is it to see the competition or see kids grow, get better at that art? I think it's not a sport. It's a sport, but it's also an art.
Easy, Harold.
Okay.
It is a sport.
It's a sport. But as far as being a sport, what attracted you to cheerleading? The fact that you wanted to see a group of individuals work in unison?
Right. I have always loved cheerleading. I was a cheerleader in Romulus.
Okay.
But I'll be perfectly honest with you. The reason why I started coaching cheerleading at Geneva for Vince Lombardi was because I didn't want to watch my son play football. I wanted to be entertained doing something else because I was too worried about him getting hurt.
Okay.
So then I decided, well, let's help do cheerleading. So then I decided I would do that, and like I said, I've always loved it since I was in high school and have just grown to love it from there and have just enjoyed it. I have a little girl now, but for many, many years it was just my son and I and my husband, and I always had, a lot of little girls around me, and I just loved cheerleading. I love to see them come from 7, 8, 9 years old and then go through. And most of the girls are now cheerleading on the varsity level that I had at 7 years old. It makes me very proud to see the progression over time and how much they still love it, and like to think that they carry a little piece of me in there when they're out there performing. And they're all over the place at Mid Lakes, at Geneva High School now, Desales,
What makes a great cheerleader? Do they have to have skill sets already ingrained in their bodies to become a great cheerleader, or can you teach them?
Well, I like to pride myself in being a coach that can take anybody and make them a cheerleader.
Okay.
I think that if anybody has the drive to do any kind of sport, and they're willing to do the work, that, I'm just there to bark the orders. I tell my girls that all the time. I'm just there to yell
Don't
at you.
take it personal, right?
No, don't take it personally. I'm only here to bark the orders at you, and you pretty much drive that car yourself. If you want it, go out and take it. I've told my girls over the years, my job is to, make you better cheerleaders. I can only take you out to the edge of the mat. Once you get to the mat, it's all you. And I give all the credit to my girls. I don't do it for them. I just help them through it. So, I live through them. And the better they do on the mats, the better I feel about myself as a coach, and the more I'll keep doing it.
Jaminette Ortiz, the head cheerleading coach at Desales. Paul brings a lot of good memories to you since you're a Desales guy, and I know that you're impressed with Jaminette. You've only met her for about 20 minutes, but you've got to be impressed with what she's doing up there to try to keep the spirit going. One thing I know about Desales, short on numbers, big on spirit.
Absolutely.
Always been that way.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I think I came from probably, compared to what they have up there now enrollment-wise, the year I graduated was 190. Students graduated. That's quite a bit for Desales enrollment. I think this year they had about 115 students because of the 100th anniversary. I think last year they were under 100 students. But you know what? You don't measure spirit. I mean, if you got spirit, Desales has always been competitive. I think all of their programs this year have been competitive, and I didn't realize that cheerleading had stopped at Desales, and I really think it was a good find for them to bring it back. And when you said you went out and mentioned that word, sport,
Yep.
It certainly is a sport.
Oh, yeah.
I've dropped my granddaughters off at ultimate cheerleading camps in Pennsylvania and stuff like that. And if they get out of the car, I see these girls over there with these six-pack abs and looking at them, what you looking at? Where you think you're going, girl? Stuff like that. And the tumbling routine. And they are
amazing.
It's incredible. And I go to that Binghamton Auditorium. They cheerlead for Vestal, and the competition there from the 40 schools, 38 schools there, different divisions. I'm telling you, the girls, they bring it, as the one movie was called. Yeah, and it's Harold. It's an intense sport. I certainly have,
as she knows, I certainly have a vested interest as well. My granddaughter Izzy has cheerleaded for Jaminette in the past, and certainly is a cheerleader for Geneva High, the lower program right now, but she'll hopefully progress up. My wife Mary looks forward to the competition. She looks forward to going on the road with my daughter Samantha, and it's sort of it's something that Samantha looks forward to, and so does Mary. As you know, Jaminette, you see them on the road all the time. They look forward to it because it's a passion for both of them.
Absolutely.
And they're excited about Saturday.
Yeah.
Because they're heading to what? RIT, right?
They're going to RIT, absolutely.
So Mary's got her favorite chair, and if the seats aren't comfortable, they bought her a chair that she can sit down and be comfortable, and that's pretty neat. So I tell the story, and I think I've told you this before. I'm not much for going for the full day or half day competitions, but I did go once to Lyons, my hometown, for an event that was scheduled. And I asked my daughter, Sam, I said, and I even asked Izzy, I said, well, how long is it going to be? Oh, a couple hours. It was like 6 hours or 6.5 hours. It was a long day. And I kept saying to Sam, when's it wrap up? Well, there's about 6 more teams to participate. The bottom line is my back was killing me. I was walking the halls a lot. But I have to admit, it was worth the trip. I should have brought something to sit down on or something. But, it was fun to be a part of that. And I got to admit, but I did need a little bit about the timing side of it. Because sometimes you guys know, of all people, sometimes you go to these competitions, it's a long day.
All day long.
I mean, God, they left last week. They left at like at 4:35 in the morning.
Right.
They headed to schools to get out of town. So it's great. I guess going back on cheerleading, and I realized I didn't want to give the opinion that I don't think it's a sport. I should know better because I've seen them compete a lot, and I know it's very difficult. But you have to pay the price too.
Yes.
You have to work hard.
Yes.
You can't just slough it. If you don't have God-given skill sets, you're going to pick up on that in a heartbeat. And if you're going to get just halfway, 50% go through a routine, you're going to see it as a coach.
Correct.
Because nobody can outfox you because you know what you're looking at.
Absolutely.
Okay, so that's pretty interesting.
Yes.
So if somebody needs your help, what kind of things do you work with them on?
Oh my goodness, we work on everything. I
Okay.
mean, down to the very simple things like their placement on the mat. Desales, we were talking to Coach Collins earlier about
Right.
Raising money.
Right.
Desales has to raise money for everything that they need. So my girls have really worked very hard and done a lot of fundraising. And one of the fundraisers that we did was a ZD dinner and a purse party, and we were able to buy cheerleading mats. Desales has never had cheerleading mats. So now you're introducing a whole new situation to these girls who don't know what a line is on a mat or a panel. I've been barking these orders for years, but they've never seen a panel and they've never seen a line. So where somebody's like, what's a panel, what's a line?
Right.
It's huge for cheerleading. They have to know where their placement is. So simple things like placement all the way up to throwing somebody 10, 15, 20 feet in the air into a perfect basket toss. I mean, every little detail counts for cheerleading. A lot of times people don't realize, you put a basketball team together, you only have to play 5 guys or 5 girls. I don't have that opportunity. I have to take whatever I get and make them cheerleaders. And people need to, I think, show a little more respect to cheerleading coaches all through all the levels, because they do have to take the girls that have never cheerleaded before,
Right.
and the girls that are veteran cheerleaders from the age that they're 5, and mend them together, mesh them together to make a team. And you have to find the good in everybody. Somebody may not have a perfect jump, but hey, you have a beautiful smile, so let me see that smile throughout
Exactly.
that whole routine, and bring attention to that cheerleader in different ways than you would take to your star, quote unquote, cheerleader that could do your double back handspring, back tucks. So everybody has to have a place on a cheerleading team. So I look for pretty much everybody, and especially at Desales, I have 7 girls.
7 girls.
7 girls. Kiara, Stephanie, Michelle, Christina, Abby. Did I say everybody?
Pretty good memory.
Let's see. Kiara, Stephanie, Abby, the twins, Michelle, Christina, Rachel. I'm missing somebody.
Aha.
Deanna. How can I forget my Deanna?
Ah.
Because if I don't forget, if I don't tell them hello, I think they will fire me.
Now,
You know,
now you're looking for more people to come out, right?
absolutely. I'll take. Yes, I want guys. I want
Beautiful.
everybody. I want everybody to come out and try cheerleading, and especially at Desales. I mean, I want to build that reputation. I want to build that name. Of Desales cheerleading again, Desales High School. We often get forgotten because we're just a tiny little school in
Right.
Geneva, and you hear Geneva and you think Geneva High School.
Yeah.
And we're here too, and
Right.
Desales is there, and Desales is going to build their reputation again all through all the sports, but particularly for me for cheerleading. I mean, they did exceptionally well at the Greater Rochester Cheerleading Competition this past weekend.
Yeah, talk about that.
Yeah, they scored second out of 5 squads. Went against some squads that were kind of tough, and others that were equally calibered with them, and they did very well. They got a lot of attention in the crowd, lots of wonderful comments on my 7 girls. I've never coached such a small team, by the way. I'm used to 35 girls, 25 girls. I was not used to 7 girls.
Wow.
And I really sat up at night, YouTubing all night long, looking for dances and looking for ideas on what to do with such a small team. And I have to tell you, I think I prefer the smaller squad. There is intimidation in numbers, but I'll tell you what, those 7 girls have a lot of passion and a lot of heart, and I would not trade them for anything. I'm ready. Yeah, we're going to compete in Canandaigua on the 11th, and then we have leagues and sectionals to follow, later in the month, and they're ready. They're ready.
And Desales is not giving any expense money for the team. You have to go out and earn it. Is that the right?
Correct,
As far as
yep.
raising funds.
Yep, I volunteer my time. My
Okay.
2 volunteer assistant coaches, 3 actually, they volunteer their time, and we're there because we love it. I
Mention your assistant coach before
Oh,
we
sure.
forget.
Emma Lawler.
Okay.
Crystal Smallwood. Caitlin Hastings. Caitlin Hastings is actually an alum at
Okay.
Desales. She actually was a cheerleader while she was there, and then decided she was going to come back. She's now a student at William Smith, and she's going to be a lawyer someday.
Wow.
No pressure, Caitlin.
That's awesome.
So we all love to be there. We want to be there for those girls, and those girls want to be there equally as much.
Is there a maximum of how many cheerleaders you can have on a team? Is there a max?
I guess it all depends on how many uniforms you have.
Really?
Yes.
Because I've seen some teams that have 30.
Yep, and they have the uniforms.
So you literally have a team that has 50 cheerleaders on it?
I have seen upwards of 40 girls on a team, yes.
Really? I was always going to ask you that. I was wondering about that.
Yep. You can have, it just depends on the school district, how big the school is, whether you have a modified team down, for your younger girls and JV varsity.
By the way, I know you're impressed by not too many things that I say, but I wanted to flash back to 1963.
Okay.
When Samantha was a cheerleader.
Oh, God, she's going to kill you.
No, Samantha wasn't a cheerleader in 63. Correction. I was a senior in Minders, but Samantha, when she became a cheerleader way back, a lot closer to 2012, I almost made Samantha 66. But she was in the Jim Senecropa era. Samantha graduated in, Jim graduated in
I graduated in 90. She was a few years older than me.
So 88-ish. 87,
yeah, if I had to guess, I'd say 87, 88.
87, 88.
Senior year.
I have no part of this conversation, Sam.
But just so you know, that I'm not bragging, but how's this one for you? Shine your shoes, dust your collar, off reminder, stand and holler.
Oh, dear.
Are you impressed?
I am totally
I remember
impressed.
that cheer at Minders, going to every game that she cheerleaded in. There was a million other ones that they did.
Hey, how about
that was the easiest one that I remember.
Aggressive, B-E aggressive, B-E-A-G-G-R-E-S-S-I-V-E.
Oh my God!
You got a couple new recruits.
Yeah, well, I like Pauly's Desales cheer that he did earlier. I think
Paul,
we should
come
do
on,
that one again.
Come on, Paul, let's hear it.
Oh, I got a million of them from
Give
those
it, come on,
days.
give it.
Desales Saints are best by far. A mighty team is what they are. Always happen on the beam. Come on, Saints, beat that team.
How about the chance of Senecrope, Hellstrom, and Weber being a member of your team?
Absolutely.
All right,
you can
Jimmy.
always
Would you be
use some
interested in
mascots.
coaching an all-male senior citizen cheerleading team?
I can do it.
I remember to shine your shoes, dust your collar. I do remember that one. It's amazing.
yes.
That's why I know they had a million others. And every time I would try to, when we were home with Sam and Mary, during her cheerleading time at school, I would try to remember some of the cheers that she did, and I always screwed up. And she would give me the look.
Oh, yes.
Sam's look.
I've seen it.
Like, Dad, you don't have it right. You got to figure this out. But I do remember shine your shoes, though.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully she's doing dogs today out and listening to the show or checking this one out, because she'll be giving me the business.
Oh, I'm sure.
I got to jump in with a
Go
quick
ahead.
question.
Go ahead.
Is this the first year back for the cheerleading, or did you start it last year or this year?
No, this is my first year. I started in August with Desales. Last year they did not they didn't finish the season with a cheerleading squad at Desales. No.
Okay,
So
good.
yeah, this is the
So-
first time back.
So the way it's going for you is, already you're placing. Obviously 2 out of 5 is placing.
Yeah.
This might be a Pied Piper effect.
Yeah, move on.
The energy of 7 girls, you say, wow, it's intimidating. I think what the pressure on 7 girls being out there is versus 16
Yep.
is the judges and everybody zeroes in on them.
Absolutely.
So when you miss a little ordeal or something, when you one little hand turn or
Right.
one little, forget the tumbling routine, anybody can see somebody slip and fall and say, well, you make up for it, you do that. But I think with the energy that these 7 girls must be bringing, because I can see the excitement by you and the energy you're bringing, I think the program will grow, and you'll probably end up with numbers that you're more familiar with, maybe
Right.
14 to 16
Yeah, that
girls,
would be
where you
great.
can build more groups to the set, and do stuff like that. Nothing wrong with 7 energized people, though, out on a mat giving a routine. And it's nice to know that that'll draw a little more attention to Desales, as it's not just a Catholic high school, it's one of the premier high schools in the area. It stood the test of time, and cheerleading is a very important part of it. The only difference I see in cheerleading, as it's grown over the years, in our day, the girls only went out on the floor, or the cheerleading team. I think one year we might have had a fellow at Desales, a classmate of mine, and they went out maybe 8 to 10 times during the actual game and then halftime. And they did a lot of sideline cheerleading, where they'd spread out all the way
Yes,
down
yes.
towards the crowd.
We still
and the
do that.
crowds were more involved. I go to games now, and they don't seem to draw at high school games like they did. And I feel so sorry for the cheerleaders. It's a futile effort there just to get the people involved. There's the parents are there and stuff. But when you used to do the games, sometimes there'd be 700 kids in those games. And I know some of the schools are drawn. I think Desales are drawn. I think Desales basketball is a pretty good program this year.
Yes.
Are they not?
Yes.
I think the girls are struggling.
Yes.
But I think, are there a lot of fans at the game? Would you say there's 300 or 400?
No, I wouldn't say not that many.
Yeah.
Not that many, but you have to start at the bottom to get to the top, and so eventually we'll get back up there to the top, and we'll fill that gym up again. And
I think cheerleading is an important part of the people come and get involved. I've gone to those competitions, like Harold said, and you think, oh, how am I going to sit here? I'm X amount of years old, and how am I going to sit? But you catch the fever for the flavor. I mean, the energy.
Yes.
It's just, I find myself, I say, oh, that's the best one so far. The next one comes out, I go, oh, that's the best one so far.
Right.
I find myself doing that during the whole, and then I'm trying to rate them and see if I can pick out the top. But it's tremendous. And those competitions, I think, it gives the girls something to work towards.
Yes.
In case they're not getting from the fans what they want or the crowds that they want. They go to those competitions, and they get it there because the people that go there and do cheer for the other cheerleaders, if they see a routine, they go, oh, my. They're whistling and they're hollering and doing that. So congratulations on where it is, and good luck on bringing it farther.
Thank you very much.
And if you want us three to show up for the next practice, Jimmy's younger than we are, so Jimmy will come up and do a few cheers for you. Myself and Paul go to bed at 6 o'clock at night, and we take our Advil and our Tylenol, and we go night-night.
All right, sounds good.
But I have to admit, we're going to come back and talk to Jaminette about more about the cheerleading coach that she's is right now for Desales. We're going to talk about some other things too, get her opinion on some other sports items. But I think, Paul, there's Gemma, this is when we take a break from talking to you for a few minutes. This is a big day as we lead up to Super Bowl 46. From zero to hero. Tom Coughlin a few weeks ago, they wanted him out of New York if he didn't beat the Cowboys. It's amazing how things have changed. Tommy wins a week from Sunday at the Super Bowl, the Giants against New England. And by the way, the bettors should know that the Giants are a 3-point underdog, according to Las Vegas, who does this for a living, by the way. They don't build those beautiful casinos because of winners. So New England, a 3-point favorite, could fluctuate a half a point here and there, but I think it's probably going to go off close to game time. But again, they played in 2007, and they were a 12.5-point favorite, New England, and the Giants beat them in 2007. So, Pauly, how do you look at the game? It should be a classic. The Giants seem to get healthy now. They seem to be ready to play. They're not too much bickering between the coaches, and it seems like everybody's ready to play best football. And I got a hunch the Giants could bring that dream home.
A tale of 2 seasons for the Giants. They broke camp fairly unhealthy.
Yep.
They started the year off decently, won 5 out of 6 games, went into a swoon in the middle of the season, got some players healthy again, got the coaches on the same page, won some road games. They're called the Road Warriors now.
Right.
I think they're tied for the most road wins in playoffs in the last 2 or 3 years. And the only thing that I see is that Tommy Coughlin, the coach of the Giants, he has stayed the course.
Yep.
We talked about it last week, consistency and preparedness. And when he first got in the NFL and started preaching that, and guys would say, well, you don't have to tell that these guys.
Old school.
They're pro athletes. Yeah, that's college. You don't get away with that. If you're the coach of a team and everybody's, a millionaire on the team and you're the coach, you're still in charge.
Right.
I don't care what it is. And he was trying to sell that to them. And I think he's sold it to the Giants because the players are rallying around him. But I think an important piece to the puzzle was the maturity of Eli Manning over the period of time, over the last 5 or 6 years, being in the shadow of his brother, and then being a quiet, soft-spoken guy, and then a real good Giant athlete that didn't want to buy into the Coughlin program in 2005 and 2006, went on the media and said that the coach doesn't have control of the team, and Eli Manning will never be a locker room leader to the team. And,
certainly proved he is.
So he went his own way, that player, and the next year the Giants won the Super Bowl, and Eli Manning emerged. And people don't say that's Peyton Manning's brother now. They go, gosh, that Eli Manning is some quarterback. So I think the consistency, paid off, and I think the Giants embellished their role as being the dog, and I think it puts them in a good position. So Go Giants.
Jam, you follow football. You watch football. Who you pulling for the Giants come week from Sunday?
If I don't say I'm pulling for the Giants, my son will kick me out of my house. I got to tell you, I was hibernating, though, the other day when a couple weeks ago when the Packers were playing the Giants because my husband is a Packer fan.
Oh, wow.
My son is a Giants fan, so I hid myself upstairs and tried to watch some kind of girly flick on TV, and every so often my son Ricky would come dancing around my room. So I'm going to have to say go Giants. Sorry, Dan, but I'm going to have to say, I'd love to see the coach come back to Waterloo and have another parade and really celebrate that. I was there. Ricky
I hope you weren't
out
upstairs watching Kim and Courtney take New York.
Oh, I probably was.
The Kardashians?
Absolutely.
Oh, my God almighty.
I am sorry. I do watch that show.
Oh, my God almighty. Oh.
Love that show.
Oh, dear. Oh, my God. Oh, it's amazing. Well, Giants are prepared. It should be a good one. As now the build-up continues, you wonder why they have 2 weeks between. A lot of people are questioning the site this year. It's Indianapolis, obviously an enclosed dome, so the weather makes no factor. Well, it makes a factor to get to the game, but it's no factor when you're there because you'll be inside a nice warm dome, 75-degree temperatures. NBC has the broadcast this year. A lot of boards, a lot of games, a lot of numbers will be played, even though they say it's illegal. Yeah, right. There's only 1.5 zillion of these things around. Never seem to do well on them, but it's always fun to put down $5 and hope you win something. But it's a good time. Super Bowl Sunday is not like any other day in the world because we've been hosting a party. Mary prepares some outstanding food. We've had 4 or 5 couples come over our place, oh my God, for 20-some years. It's a tradition. And we'll have the same people back this year. And we bust chops, and the girls talk, and the guys yell and scream, and then they all come in at halftime to watch the halftime show. Yeah. Madonna performing this year.
Ooh, that should
Madonna.
be good.
And, of course, the commercials.
Right.
$4 million. Companies are paying, Jimmy, $4 million for a 30-second spot, and they're sold out.
Wow.
Maybe we can get a Dog and Pauly commercial on the Super Bowl.
Wouldn't that be great?
I got a programming note real quick since you're talking about the Super Bowl.
Sure.
This will be the 7th or 8th year that we've, here at Finger Lakes One, done the Super Bowl chili webcast. Now, what that is about 11 a.m. on Super Bowl Sunday.
Nice.
You log on to Finger Lakes One, you'll see the link, and you'll click it. It'll bring up a live webcast, not unlike what some of the viewers are watching now live. But what it is there's a camera over our stove, and we make the chili from scratch, and the camera stays on the chili all day. Then we have a party, and people come, and then eventually the chili's gone. So it's about a 8-hour webcast. It's actually, we would be surprised how many people log on, but it's become a bit of a tradition on Super Bowl Sunday.
That's neat.
About 11 a.m. we start, so you'll see the FL1 chef chopping up the onions and the peppers and building the chili from about 11 to 12, and then you'll see it simmer, and then the party starts and people come. So it's not something you want to sit there for 8 hours and watch all of it, but you peek in from time to time.
Neat.
On Super Bowl
I'll definitely
Sunday.
Be checking it out.
Yep, check for the link on the front page of Finger Lakes One on Super Bowl Sunday for that.
And Pauly, what do you and Helen and the kids do on Super Bowl Sunday? Anything different?
I'm not sure what we're going to do this year. We want to do a lot of hollering and yelling and screaming and swearing, so we'll probably stay home. My wife has become quite a fan, She jumps up on the couch, and he can't do that. That's a hold, And then sure enough, 5 seconds later, the ref will go, hold on 75, and my wife said, I do that, But, no, having a local element there, having Tom be the coach, and knowing how little he's changed, because he was the athlete of the week 3 times when I ran the Franklin Hotel and gave a certificate out for a $5 gift certificate for the athlete of the week.
Oh, yeah.
And he'd come in and bring his parents in on the weekend and his brothers and sisters and put it towards a pizza and everything like that. And then at 17 years old, he was writing me a letter thanking me for a $5 gift certificate. Thank you for scoring 19 touchdowns in 8 games in your senior year, rushing. I mean, holy cow. But, and it's easy to root for people like that. And it's good. It's a good matchup because it's Bill Belichick hasn't made too many friends over the years. He's like Darth Vader or something in Star Wars trilogy, and all this stuff. And I think Tom Brady, there's a lot of people that don't like him, but for all the wrong reasons. He's pretty. His girlfriend is extremely pretty. Yeah. And his bank account is enormously pretty. Yeah. So, and then there's the workers, the street workers, the Giants. So it's perfect matchup. Yep. Plus they played 4 or 5 years ago.
Yep.
And they, there's players, I think 7 or 8 from the Giants and 11 or 12 from New England that might have played in those games.
It's going to be great.
I think it'll be the highest rated Super Bowl they've ever had, telecast-wise. Maybe that'll pay for those $4 million commercials.
That's right. This year, of course, the game's in Indianapolis, and next year it'll be in New Orleans. There's a lot of excitement. A lot of people are complaining about Indianapolis being the site for excitement purposes. There's not a lot to do in Indianapolis. I mean, I guess you can go to different places. They said an hour and a half away, but next year won't be a problem. It'll be in New Orleans, and a lot to do there. A lot to talk about. We still got Jaminette Ortiz going to join us in a few minutes. Some other sports topics. Of course, the SU basketball team suffers their first loss. The Irish of Notre Dame, Paul, defeat the Syracuse Orangemen last weekend. As I was telling Jimmy on my show on Monday when I did my video show, Notre Dame has the proud distinction of having defeated 8 number 1 teams in their history. I remember the classic one back in 1974. I was 28 at the time.
Not born.
Thank you. That's very nice of you to say that. That's very nice of you to say. But 1974, I was 28, and John Wooden brought his juggernaut UCLA basketball team into South Bend with an 88-game winning streak. And guess what? It ended there. 72-71 Notre Dame. So Notre Dame has a knack of doing it. And as I talked to Jim, being a Syracuse grad, Paul, if you watched the game, I assume you did, Pauly, the white men can jump, played extremely well in the middle. They were talking about not having Fab Mello, and yet to figure out what happened to him. But I think the other guys didn't work it in the middle. Jimmy, we talked about this. They didn't talk about Scoop Jardine. They didn't talk about waiters. It was just a bad performance by the Orange, Jim. And you know, and I know, when you score 23 for the half, you're in trouble.
Yeah, and remember, these are 18, 19, 20-year-old kids,
right,
and they've been the number 1 team now for 6 or 7 weeks,
exactly,
and nobody's touched them. Nobody's even challenged them. So I think despite how much, as a coach, you might tell them, look, there's going to be a tough environment, we got to do this, we got to do that. They came out a little flat.
Bingo.
And it's funny because they didn't play that much better overall against Cincinnati on Monday, which was also a tough road game, but they had a lot more intensity, a lot more focus, a lot more effort underneath. Because I think that Notre Dame game was a little bit of a wake-up call that we're not going to roll over everybody. So I don't know. They, like you said in the bowling interview, sometimes a loss is a good thing.
I think it is.
Yeah, especially in college basketball, where any night anybody can beat anybody. Syracuse is very talented, but if they think that they're going to be able to roll over every team throughout that's not how you win a national championship. That Notre Dame game had a feel to me of a typical second-round Syracuse NCAA tournament game where it just seems like everybody on the team is off and the other team's draining threes and outworking us. And it seems like that Syracuse team was thinking, well, once it gets inside of 5 minutes, we'll take care of business and get this win. But it didn't happen. So I think it was a wake-up call that maybe they got to come from the start.
Play hard.
Yeah, and hopefully Fab Mello comes back for the game Saturday against West Virginia because he's sorely missed in the middle of that zone.
Go ahead,
I made
Pauly.
a statement that didn't ring too true. I said I don't care if they're 33-0 or 32-1. Not that I saw the loss coming, but I also made another statement. And I said they send out 9 or 10 players that are all starters.
Yep.
But the key to the whole thing is one guy was missing, and they looked completely different. Plus, Syracuse doesn't live or die by the three.
Yeah.
They're not a very good three-shooting team, so they have nobody to pick it up on the outside per se. But I think really what happened to them in both games, in the Cincinnati game, is it was only one player missing, but I'm not sure the other players knew exactly what their role was going to be with him missing. Should I go in and be the new rebounder that rips the ball away? Or because when he's in there with that whatever arm span he has, Jim, you know it. What is he, 7'1", and he's just the
big guy? Yeah.
I mean, he does so much, and that's why in the second game they became journeymen. They were all working the ball.
Yep.
But I look, as Jim would mention, their ageism. I look for Scoop Jardine and Trish as elder statesmen on the team. To even though they're not a Fab Mello underneath, they've got to pick up the game and pick up the other players. And, of course, they're coming back to the confines of the Dome, which is really tough to beat them. But they got some big games coming up. I think they got UConn and Georgetown, and the teams will play them tough. And everybody gets fired up for a team that's undefeated or number one. So that was a good thing. Notre Dame's not having much of a year. I don't think Connecticut's having much of a year.
Yeah, well, you won't find a team in the country that had to play back-to-back road games in the environment that Syracuse did this weekend.
Notre Dame, Cincinnati, right?
Because they were number one and because they do have the target on their back. So, for Notre Dame, it was just a wild scene. And then Cincinnati has a whiteout, where everybody's wearing white. And,
I know.
These fans were looking forward to those games for weeks. So it was good for Syracuse to be tested. I don't like to think it's good to lose a game anytime, but in this case, it may have been a good wake-up call because you have Chris Joseph probably preparing his NBA resume, Deion Waiters thinking he's the next coming of Clark Kent Superman.
Yeah.
Things were just so easy for him, and there were so many accolades that I think they need to be reminded, hey, this is Division I college basketball, Big East basketball, especially on the road. You can lose any game.
I agree. You got to be ready. Hey, by the way,
one bad rap on that. Sorry, Harold.
Go ahead.
And you would never mention this because you're not a big fan of Syracuse. They got disked in the respect department.
Yeah.
They lost one game on the road. They dropped them to fourth.
Yeah.
I know.
I think that's the biggest drop from a number one team this year. And there's been many number one teams. No one's been able to hold that pinnacle. And I'm anxious to see the next time Kentucky loses how far down they get dropped. That's a lack of respect for Jim and the Syracuse basketball team.
I
agree.
I'm more of a fan for the basketball program than I am for the librarian, Doogie Marone. I'm not a fan of their football program. And speaking of their football program, a couple of things to pass on. I was telling Jim, if you missed it, Tim Green, the embattled coach of Skinny Ellis, who finally resigned over there with allegations that one of his coaches had illegally recruited another player from another school to come to Skinny Atlas. And the court system agreed with him and did not let him play in the championship game, that team, Skinny Atlas. His son, Troy Green, who's a pretty good athlete, was offered a scholarship by Syracuse. And, of course, Troy Green lives in Skinny Atlas, so you could hit a knockdown 8-iron. I think Jim could probably 8-iron from Skinny Atlas to the Dome. Take it over that hill, Jimmy. And he went to Central Florida, has decided to go to Central Florida, which, to me, I don't know how good this kid is. He was offered a scholarship at Syracuse by Marone. And then we talk about a young lady named Brianna Stewart, who is a fantastic women's player who participates and plays for Cicero North Syracuse. Outstanding athlete, 6'4", has all the skill sets. As we all know, and Jim knows better than anybody since they graduated from the school, their basketball program, women's style, has really suffered over the years. You can't compete with the Tennessees, the Connecticuts, etc. And nobody expects them to do it in a year's time. But it's always been my philosophy, if the Marones and the Tillmans, or Hillman, the coach of the Syracuse women's team, if they're ever going to get any better, they have got to find a way to keep these kids, Jimmy, in Central New York, here in Central New York. And, Jimmy, who's the kid that went to Michigan, the fantastic football player there? Running back.
Hart.
Yeah. I mean, the whole point is, Jim, I think you'd agree, you lose Miss Brianna Stewart. She goes to Connecticut, which is, God only knows, perennial powerhouse, year in, year out. Jim made a good point before broadcast time. They're on television every other night. Syracuse, you're not going to get that. So, Jim, the point being is they got to somehow find a way to get these athletes to stay here.
Yeah, I went to
I don't know how they do
the Dome recently for a game, and I saw this tall woman, girl, in the concourse, and she was being mobbed by, maybe a half dozen younger kids, maybe junior high age kids.
Yep.
And she was giving them autographs. And I said, what the heck, who's this?
Yep.
And Pat Patchen, you might know Pat.
Very well.
I was standing with him, and he said, oh, you know who she is? She's going to UConn to play basketball.
Brianna.
And I said, wow, so she has a following up there. But, yeah, Quentin Hillsman, the women's coach, it's an uphill battle trying to build a program in the shadow of the great men's program.
Bingo.
And in the same league with a UConn and a Rutgers and a Notre Dame, where those women's programs are perennial top 10.
I know.
But he's doing a good job.
It's tough. It's a tough. And by the way, Pauly, we want to say something before we go back to Jaminette in a couple minutes here. Talk to her about some other comments she has regarding the cheerleading. FingerLakes1.com Sports is proud to announce a new endeavor that we're going to be going on the road. We're going to be doing a couple of basketball game package. We're going to be doing live play-by-play, like I did for 30 years. And we're also going to do pictures, as you can tell. which no other radio station who does play-by-play can offer. We're looking forward to a 2-game package. We're going to start our 2-game deal a week from this coming Friday, February 3rd. We'll be in Waterloo. The Waterloo girls, who've had a good season, I think they got a couple losses. They will be entertaining the Newark girls, who are undefeated at broadcast time of this show, and it looks like they may come to Waterloo undefeated. We're looking forward to calling that game for you. Jimmy's got the cameras all set up. Jimmy, we're looking forward to that endeavor, and I'm thrilled to work with a true legend of Seneca County, the best basketball player, probably the highest scoring basketball player ever to come out of Seneca Falls, named Matt Berkey.
I knew it.
Matt Berkey has got a resume longer than Jimmy's door to his office, and looking forward to having him as a color commentator. When you get color commentators that have the resume that Matt Berkey has, it'll be easy for me to do play-by-play because he's a good guy and knows his game of basketball, Jimmy. So Thank you for allowing us to do this. And the following week, we're going to be in Clyde doing the Clyde boys versus Lions. So talk a little bit about, Jimmy, this endeavor.
One thing we got to do is start remembering to mute our cell phones before the show.
There you go. It's a good idea.
But, yeah, we're going on site. Multiple cameras, production equipment. Color commentary, play-by-play. It's going to be sponsored by Midday Mirrors and Ricky. Is going to be the title sponsor, and we're also picking up more sponsors. So if you're interested, if you're in Newark, Waterloo, Clyde, or Lions, and you're interested in being a part of this, give me a call.
Sure.
Give us a call here at Finger Lakes 1, 315-712-0104, or email us at contact@fingerlakes1.com, and we can get you involved in the sponsorship, which will involve your logo and tagline being spoken between quarters, and some other things. I can send you the information if you're interested. But
looking forward to it. Should be fun.
Yeah, there's a lot of technical things to overcome to make sure we pull this off. So we're working on that. I'm heading up to Clyde to meet with Nick Turcola, the athletic director, to do one more run through at the gym at Clyde. Talked to Jeff Panic up at Waterloo, their AD, yesterday. He was on the show before.
Yep, Jeff.
And he's excited for us to come. So they're waiting for us. One reason, and I'm really happy that we're doing the girls game and a boys game, not just focusing on the boys.
Exactly.
That Newark team is a special team this year,
and
Waterloo has a couple of sensational sophomores. So that should be a great scene in that gymnasium in Waterloo. And another reason for doing that Waterloo game first is because they got a state-of-the-art facility.
Yeah, they do.
So I think it will be a little easier on us to pull this off for the first one.
Yep.
Clyde might be a little more challenging. They're a little more dated out there, but the scene at Clyde for that local rivalry should be huge. So we're going to do this. We're going to see how it's received, and then maybe next year come back with a full season of schedule, maybe even throw in a couple more at the end of this season, maybe some sectional play. But I'm a little nervous about it, but we're going to we're doing it.
Well, it's a tribute to you to invest that you've done in this equipment. And I know I missed doing the play-by-play for 13 years. I haven't done it. I did it for 30 years. I would do 3 or 4 games a week with Dave Barnick and Jack DiPaolato. And, Pauly, I know you head to Waterloo a lot. I know that you're looking forward to the 2-game package that we're going to be unveiling. It's going to bring back the old days for me, and working with Matt Berkey should be quite a thrill, because I was amazed when Jimmy said he was interested in helping us out, because nobody knows the game better than him, and certainly nobody ever played the game better than him.
Speaking of that, this is a big build-up weekend. This is it. Waterloo Minders, Friday night. Minders was 0-something, 0 in the world, and they won their last 3 games, and Minders is
you're talking about Waterloo. Waterloo was winless but they won a couple in a row now.
Minders won all their games. Waterloo lost all of them. The Minders on a mini roll. And then the girls Monday night. And along with that, 40 or 43 screaming cheerleaders are going to do special routines for the fight against cancer. The Minders and Waterloo.
Oh, yeah, the Waterloo. I don't know if you heard about this, Jaminette, but Waterloo and Minders cheerleading squads are combining. It is a fundraiser for cancer. I don't know exactly. They're doing a huge routine at halftime of both those games.
But it's at the game, so they'll have the people, and they'll have the, and they're going to go around and draw the money from you. I mean, you go to those games for nothing. I mean, you walk in there for $1 or $3.
Yeah.
If you go to
kids are going out there and put this energy forth, and nothing's going into their pocket, nothing's going into their equipment. It's a special fundraiser for cancer, and the young women are aware of what's going on all through life with cancer and everything like that, and this is what you call playing it forward. And you can't get any more excitement than that. I'm more excited about the routine at halftime than the game. Sorry, but
if you go to Finger Lakes 1 and click on the Seneca County Get Local page, probably about halfway down the page by the time you're listening to this show, there's a link about that story, and there's a picture of both squads together, and there's quite a few. There's a lot of girls. There's one guy, I don't know if he's from Minders or Waterloo, but there's one boy in that picture too. But yeah, it's a lot of people involved in that, so that should be fun to see how that comes off.
Good. Well, Jaminette, we are approaching the high noon. We took a break away to talk about some other topics. We certainly want to give you an opportunity to give us a few final comments here on a Wednesday. We appreciate you taking time out of your busy schedule to come down. You got 7 individuals. You're hoping to get more, and certainly anyone interested, he can contact you.
Yes, or just call right up to the school and talk to Mr. Pasalacqua, the athletic director. Or I'm on Facebook. I'm the only Jaminette out there that I know of. Thank God. Yeah, definitely. They have to be a student at Desales, obviously, to be able to cheer for Desales. But yeah, definitely. If anybody's interested, come find me.
Now,
check out the girls.
I see on TV they have this show called Dance Moms that drive their kids nuts.
Yeah.
Is there such things as dance cheerleaders too? Mom cheerleaders that drive their kids to the hilt?
You mean the ultimate cheer mom?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There is. Okay.
You mean
I want to know if
wants to coach from the stands?
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, you get some of that. I was wondering how
I don't have any, thank God.
All right, good.
Thank God.
But they are.
But there are,
they're
out there. And they're the coach's worst
nightmare. Because they think they know more than a coach.
Absolutely.
No.
They always have the opportunity to come coach.
Ah.
I'll pull up a chair next to them and they can coach my team.
Do your thing, right?
Absolutely. You can do it better than me. Go right at it.
It's funny you said that, because when I was starting to do games back in the early 70s, you weren't born yet, but Paul can relate to this. I'm a Seneca Falls guy. I went to Miners, and I had an opportunity to start calling games. And my octave level was higher during some of the games because I got excited in calling the games. And what happens when your octave level gets high, Jimmy knows because he's a technical genius, it screeches over the airwaves.
Right.
You can't understand the person doing the play-by-play. And it took me a while to understand that my emotions and excitement trying to do play-by-play would distort the voice coming across the radio. And so I would just run into a person the next day because I'm a Seneca Falls guy, and they would lambaste me about the lousy job I did on the air. And they would say, we lost control, you were screaming, and this was when I first started. And I take things kind of personally, and I thought, God, he's right, they're right. And so I worked on trying to keep my voice. It's hard, though, in exciting plays, not to get excited on the air. But you know what? This guy kept hammering me every time he saw me, and I thought I was getting better, and he kept hammering me. So I finally did what you did, or was thinking about doing. I said, look, I did like 4 or 5 games, and this guy was just one of my worst, and he kept listening.
Critics.
Worst critics. I don't mind critics, Tell me what you hate about the show, and especially this show or the other show I do. I can handle the criticism. I got tough skin. And Paul knows I've been criticized a lot over the years, so it's part of what I do. But this guy was just relentless. So I finally met him in a bar one night. I was having a beer. He come down. He started picking on me again about some of my broadcasting lack thereof abilities. And I finally said I had enough. So I turned over. I said, look, his name was Bob. I said, let me tell you something, Bob. I knew him all my life. I said, Bob, you don't like the job I'm doing. You think you can do better. I think that's your opinion. I said, but I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm not only the play-by-play guy, but I'm also the sports director of WSFW. I said, I'm going to ask you to join me this coming Friday at the Rochester War Memorial. And we're going to have 8,000 people in the stands. And I'm going to call a doubleheader, and I'd like you to come up, and we will pay you $50 to put the headset on and do the play-by-play.
You haven't heard from him since, have you?
Never heard of, never saw him, and he's a Seneca Falls guy, ever.
Yeah.
I said, you think you can do it better? I'm not saying you can't. You think this is easy? Put the headset on, Jimbo. Start talking and make it sound interesting. And, it was about it. I was trying, and I understand I was having flaws because one of my biggest issues, and I'm an emotional person, is during an exciting play. If Jimmy Senecrobi's running 50 yards for a touchdown, you tend to get excited.
Right.
And if you get overly excited, as he knows, you can hear the screech across the air. And what did he say?
Right.
So, it's a learning curve. But I'll never forget that. I'm going to pay you $50. We're going to drive you. We're going to give you the headset. We're going to give you the microphone, and we're going to sit back and have a hot dog and a Coke.
Yep.
Never saw him again.
Good for you.
That's the way it's got to be. Hey, listen, we appreciate you taking time out of your schedule. We would love you to come back down the road.
Would love to.
Give us an update.
Absolutely.
And Pauly, before we go to you for final comments, I want to remind everybody, as you always do, And Jaminette being on the show today from Desales for the cheerleading side of it, and Chuck Collins talking about the Geneva and boys bowling teams. This is your vehicle to come on and talk to us. If you're checking us out, whether it be in Marcus Whitman, Rushville, or whether it's in Auburn or Canandaigua, Geneva, Waterloo, Seneca Falls, if you've got a charity you want to talk about, a benefit, you got a team that's tiddlywinks, you throw darts, whatever. You want to come out there and talk about it? This is your opportunity. We're inviting you to come to the studio. And if you can't make it in, we'll talk to you like we did this morning with Chuck Collins.
No tiddlywinks, though.
No tiddlywinks?
Not interested in tiddlywinks.
How about chili? How about doing chili? Can we talk about doing chili? All right,
sure.
good.
That's fine.
Pauly, how about some final comments before we wrap this baby up?
Well, I don't want to drift away from it, but the good guy, bad guy,
Yep.
we used to do that once in a while.
Yep.
The good guy of the week for me is Jorge Posada,
Oh, yeah.
who, rather than test free agency,
Yep.
retired after 17 years with the Yankees.
Yep.
He said, I always wanted to be a Yankee as a kid. I played for them for 17 years, and rather than test free agency, I'm going to retire as that. I think he's the good guy of the week. The bad guy of the week might be Floyd Mayweather.
Yeah.
Who issued a tweet out to Manny Pacquiao saying, "Step up and fight me, punk, and agree to a boxing match." I always love it when a guy who's facing jail time for domestic violence calls another guy a punk.
Oh, yeah.
I thought it
Floyd
was
Mayweather's
Mayweather
like
who was
Pacquiao.
ducking Pacquiao.
Yeah. They want to get together.
Traditionally, over the past few years, it's been Mayweather ducking Pacquiao.
Yeah. Now he wants them. But he wants more than 50%. That's the latest drawback I heard.
Yeah.
He wants 55 to 45%. If they ever get together in a ring, Floyd Mayweather and Manny Pacquiao, if they ever get together, it will be the highest grossing fight in the history of boxing. Yeah. The history. It will be so high, you can't imagine. People will spend $100 to watch the fight. That's how interesting this fight would be. Hey, by the way, folks, we appreciate you joining us. And again, if you would like to be a part of our show, it's a Dog and Pauly podcast. We do it every Wednesday from 11 to noon, with very few exceptions. We have a good time here, as you can tell, and we want you to be a part of it if you would like. Jaminette, thank you very much for coming.
Thank you very much for having me.
All righty. And Pauly, as usual, it's been a slice, and we look forward to a good weekend. And I know that you and the Deluxe boys and the family up there at Deluxe will get pumped for Super Bowl Sunday. Go Giants.
Amen. When Desales goes marching down the line, everybody's feeling mighty fine. Just to see us here and hear us give a cheer for old Desales.
Thank you to Chuck Collins from Geneva. Thank you to Jaminette Ortiz. This is the Dog H. Weber with my buddy Paul Hellstrom. Jaminette and our owner and director and producer, Jimmy Senecrobi, bidding you all a farewell. Catch you next week, folks.